Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of Zelda II, Resurrection of Ganon, a fan-made hack of Zelda II, The Adventure of Link. We're here on the eastern continent this time. We're going to do some exploration of it. We won't be going to any palaces, or into any palaces. We're just going to be going into two towns, getting some spells and the upstab. So, we'll also be exploring a few caves, just to get some experience. Now, when you're over here, you actually have two options. You have the option to go down to the Three-Eyed Rock Palace, which is Palace 6 in the base game. Or you can go to the Maze Island Palace, which is Palace 4 in the base game. You can get to either of those palaces, particularly the 6th one, the Three-Eyed Rock Palace, because the River Devil that guarded it in the base game isn't there. It's been relocated to two different places in this hack. We're actually going to see one. You might have seen it. It's over to the left there. It's basically standing where the Great Palace is. So you need the flute to get to the Great Palace. You blow it on the river in front of the River Devil tile there, and it will disappear in the palace. The other one is basically right at the entrance of the cemetery. That leads to where the entrance leads to the pathway to the Great Palace. So one nice thing about some of the enemies in this game, the Tick-Tocks and the Tick-Tights and the Land Zeros, is we don't need the fire spell to deal with them. These are the Tick-Tights here. We can just take them out with a regular sword, so saves us some magic, which is good because magic, of course, is very sparse in this game. We don't have a lot of magic. Let's keep heading over this way. This is a really annoying enemy, the scorpion enemy. I tried to finish him off here, but he didn't want to cooperate. He's really annoying because you can only hurt him when his eye is open, and he's really tough to bounce on, because he's either moving away from you while you're bouncing, or even he's moving towards you when you're bouncing. If his eye ain't open, you're going to bounce off him. And yeah, as you can see, didn't work out that well for me. So time to make beat feet and head back outside. Knowing when to retreat, that's a good way to avoid dying in this game. Although the game does give you a lot of extra lives, we've been hoarding them up. We could go over to the right there. We can hit that stone, walk the beach a little bit. That'll take us to an area, but we're going to go that way anyway later on. So I'm just going to save time and not go that way. So they say the Seeing Eye Rock holds what? It holds a secret to navigating unseen terrain. And basically that secret we're going to learn is basically the water walk boots. They're going to allow us to walk on rivers and on some sea tiles. Allow us to get to places like the Palace in the Ocean, Palace 5 in the base game, and if you could skip all the encounter zones in Maze Island. That is the other palace that we can go to, Palace 4. That's the one that we're going to be going to first. So, welcome Link, I will grant you the magic to restore your life. We finally get the life spell, but it's really, really expensive. Right now it's 48, so it's going to cost our entire magic bar to use. Even when we get to magic level 8, it's still going to be very expensive. I think it drops down to 40, so it's still going to cost 2.5 bars. So, very expensive spell. But it's, I guess, an important spell. It's one way we can heal ourselves. So, see a bat there, it disappeared. I guess it was this one that flew into this house. This bat, if we talk with him 3 times, he just does the ... But on the 4th time, our persistence pays off. And he gives us a clue about the Northern Palace. So he says the Garden of North Palace have riches beyond imagination. So that's a clue to go back to the North Palace, that there's actually something there. In this game, it's a full-blown dungeon, and it has lots of riches in it. Riches in the sense of these rubies there that look like the rubies in The Legend of Zelda, but when you touch them or stab them like a point bag, they're worth 1,000 points, and there's 6 of them gathered in there, so you can get 6,000 experience points just by getting the rubies in that North Palace. Although the main reason to go to that North Palace is, one, you get two, you have to get the flute there that allows you to beat the game, and you can also get the final ball of magic, the final magic container. That dungeon, I guess appropriately they gave you a clue to it there in that town, is guarded. That's the only one that's going to have a boss monster, and the boss monster is going to be the skeleton, Barbaro, the dragon from the base game. Taking quite a bit of damage here. Not good. I use my life spell. It's okay. The next encounter zone is much easier, at least in terms of life lost. I didn't fight those guys very well. Luckily, we don't have to deal with bubbles in these encounter zones. This one, you just have to deal with the Octoroks. It can be a little tricky if you're rush forward, because then you run the danger of bumping into an Octorok, or one of its rocks while you're jumping over the pit. That can knock you into there. But if you take your time, easy goes. They say a river of lava spews from Devil's Mouth. He doesn't like wind noise. And I guess that's referring to the Great Palace, because there's that the actual tile where the Great Palace is, and then the entrance to or the area to the tile blocking the entrance to the area of the Great Palace. Both have one of those river devil monsters in them, and that area kind of looks like lava, dried out lava. There's a lot of lava pits in that area, so maybe it is a lava area. Luckily it's cooled down, so Bub can walk through it. And here we also get the up stab to complement our down stab. I think it's a little more useful in this game. There's quite a few more times when you have to use it to advance in palaces. And they put that bat there, I want to say they might have put that bat there just so you can practice using the up stab. Because it's in the perfect position to be up stabbed by you. Up stab will be good for taking out the floating eyes, the moai eyes. I think they're called moas. They're really annoying in the area going to the Great Palace. Luckily, there's a way to kind of avoid them a little bit, so welcome, Link. I will grant you this magic to make you so fast. We get the dash spell. Speedrunners use it a lot because it doubles your movement, so obviously you're gonna cover ground in half the time. But since we're not really worried about beating the game fast, we won't be getting really any use out of the dash spell. You can use it to, rather than the jump spell, to cross large horizontal pits. But I think in most cases, you can just use the jump. Actually, in all cases, you can just use the jump instead to avoid them. And I think actually jump ends up being cheaper in the long run once you get your magic all the way filled up. So yeah, kind of a pointless spell unless you, like you said, you're speed running. What is useful when you're speed running, and it'll be useful in the area going to the Great Palace, the way to the Great Palace, is the encounter zone skip. Just like in the base game, we can skip encounter areas by getting into a random encounter at the same time we step on a encounter tile. So there I just stepped on that blob, And so it brought me into this encounter. Now I don't have to go through that set little stage where those two lizards with the maces were. I can just go through this one here. And that's good, like I said, going to the Great Palace, because the 3 encounter zones going to the Great Palace, you're going to need either the jump or the dash spell to get across, because there's some really big gaps to jump. And you might also have to use the spell to turn those Moa eyes into blobs, because they're flying all over the place. Can knock you into the pit when you're trying to jump over them. So it just saves a lot of magic to just get into a random encounter instead of going through those zones, which is what I will be doing when I get to that point in the game. But for now, we are just going to Maze Island. Like the base game, there's going to be a bunch of encounter zones over in Maze Island. If you take a certain route, you only would have to go through one of them, just like in the base game. But I'm going to show off all the encounter areas. I did that in the bonus above episode. I showed off the ones I didn't go through in the base game. But since I already showed off the encounter areas in Death Mountain, the excess ones, I might as well just show off these ones here too, so I won't have to do a bonus above episode. This playthrough will run just a little longer than the regular Zelda 2 one. Cells up. Now in the base game, we had to go to Maze Island and we had to rescue a kid and take the kid back to Daruni Town to get the reflect spell. They've basically replaced that encounter zone with instead an extra life. So rather than getting a kid, we're going to get a little doll of Link. There's also going to be no magic container in here. Like I said, in the base game, you found magic containers scattered throughout the overworld. In this game, you get them at the inner palaces. So that's one less encounter zone. Most of these encounter zones are going to basically be there's tick-tight enemies and the land Zoros. But as I mentioned earlier, the good thing is we don't have to use fire on them. So I'm just turning around here because otherwise I'd have to go through this whole encounter area again, because that up there is a dead end. In the base game, the upper corner there is where you get the kid. In this game, there's nothing there. This is the first encounter zone. We could have skipped it by taking the long way around the bridges. As I said, we would have walked further, but probably would save time because we wouldn't have to fight any of these enemies. And so the speedrun, of course, just gets the boots and walks right over the river and skips all encounter zones. We could skip this encounter zone by just not going into it. If we take the shortcut in the base game, that's the way you go to get the magic container, but there's no magic container in this one, so this is another skippable encounter zone. I'm just gonna go through it and then turn around at the end, so I don't have to backtrack through it with, monsters in it. So, although these are big monsters, so they wouldn't really respawn, but I'll save a screen transition. So, most of the long way that you would go in the base game to avoid encounter zones, if you go that way in this game, you basically run into encounter zones. So, there is, like I said, one encounter zone that you have to go through, though it's right before the palace. We could skip this encounter zone by just going to the right there, but like I said, we're going to show them all off. I'm not feeling too bad about using magic here because the second to last encounter zone in this area has a red pot just sitting there. So I guess that's their nice way to help you out. You get quite a bit of experience too, so that's nice. Power our party up, or our party of one. We can take the top route to avoid an encounter route, but I'm going the wrong way, so I can show these all off. We will be jumping back up to the top though, because that is where the encounter zone replacing the rescued child is. I mean, it's going to look just like that zone. It's going to have fall down. Over to the right is the lizard man. Defeat the lizard man with the spear. And but instead of getting the child, we're going to get a doll of Link. These guys are worth a little less experience. They're worth 150 in the base game. I always found that weird. They were worth 150 in the base game, but they're like orange. And if you go by the Iron Knuckles, orange is the weakest, then red is the next strongest, and then blue is the strongest. The lizards, though, in the base game, the yellow gave more experience than the red. In the base game, the yellow gave 150, red gave 100, and I think the blue gave you 200. So yeah, experience, or maybe it was yellow was 100, red was 50, and blue was 150. Yeah, I think that's how it was. I haven't played the regular Zelda game, Zelda II, in a while, so might be a little off. But yeah, it was weird that the yellow or the orange ones there were worth more when you can block their spears with your shield, regular shield, where the mace ones, the red ones, you couldn't. So here we are, we're at the Maze Palace, and that's what we're going to explore in our next episode. Take care, have a good one, see you then. Bye.